Well, every year, this is a unique business because you start in August and you have no guarantee at all. And the one thing that we do is we have high expectations. What's great is when I, first got here, we were on, minus a couple scholarships and on probation. I don't know if Omaha at the time or Super Regional was your bar. But what's great about hurting, as I told the players after the game that night, this is going to hurt, and the reason it's going to hurt is because we want more, and our bar is set very high. We want to win a national championship, and to do that, you got to get to a Super Regional, and we didn't do that, so it hurts. But I also told them too, um, never to let a game define them. At the end of the day, it is a baseball game. Let the way you live your life define you. Not just a baseball game, but as coaches and as players, another reason it hurts is because you work so hard and you want it so bad. But a lot of times in life, just like our personal life, sometimes it's not God's will. I mean, sometimes, it's not His timing, and you gotta, continue to praise Him, even though that you didn't win, and I think these guys did a great job of honoring Him through their platform and all the good that they did this year. I told them there'll be some people that'll focus on what you failed to do in sport, but you got to constantly focus on what you were able to do. You were able to win 2 championships and play for another championship. Your university's name came up with a lot of great schools up there, 15 great universities. Um, the people we touched, the cancer patients that lived through us this year, and Daniel Alamo, and the girl from the Shriners that came over, and the kids from the ALS, and all the people that we were able to touch throughout this season, and then the community. We're going to have so many far-reaching effects from hosting this regional, from all our culture and our university, all the way back to New Jersey, and all the way back to Arizona. All of that, you couldn't have probably afforded to pay for the media coverage we got over the last week and a half. So there's a lot of good we did. There's a lot of good baseball teams that still aren't playing right now. I told the players, last night, before the game started the other night, is that there's only about 18 or 19 people still playing. And I just think there's some honor in that. Do we have to accept we didn't win? No, we wanted to win, but at the end of the day, 18 or 19 people were still playing baseball out of 305, 306 people. So there is some honor in that, and hopefully they can learn from that. We'll regroup. We met with all the seniors today to tell them thank you, that we love them, that our love is not connected to them conditionally over if they win or lose, and make sure that they know that they're in the Ragin Cajun family for life, and to meet with them today to take a time with emotions, got down, and see, who's finishing, who's going to med school, who's going to maybe go into coaching, what do they want to do with their personal lives, and then the drawback off of their years here when they get into the real world, into corporate America, and they'll do that. There's a lot of lessons that was learned through all of this that I think that they'll use for the rest of their life.
How special is this senior group? Because the 14 group, like you said, 8 or 9 guys are playing professional ball right now.
Yes.
One guy's going to medical school, coaching. It's not your superstar guys that might extend their playing career, but they continue kind of the excellence.
Well, I think what's great about that is that not everybody's going to be a pro ball player. I don't love Austin more than I love Justin, because Austin got drafted and Justin played independent baseball. Our love's not conditional here, and it's not conditional with our children, and neither should it be with yours. I mean, and we love them, to come out here with no guarantee. Somebody gives them no guarantee. And in August, man, they took the courage enough to come out here and flip 400-pound tractor tires in the sand at 6 in the morning with no guarantee. And they took on a professional challenge. It didn't work out, but in life, when you take on a professional challenge, you grow from it. And they didn't run from it. We didn't back down from it. We didn't get that last game in like we wanted to. But I've always said this, sometimes when you're going to get down in the arena and fight the bull, you're going to get the horn. And but if you don't want the horn, easiest thing to do is sit in the bleachers and not get down in the arena and fight. And the one thing I'm proud about them is they decided to fight. I've always told them I've got a lot of horn marks, and but the honor in that is that we went down in the arena and we fought the bull.
How do you feel about what's coming back? Who are you worried about draft eligible losing, and which of the seniors maybe have a shot at going?
Okay, I think Eric Carter, we hope would get a chance. We hope all of them get a chance. I know all of them really want to continue to play. And visiting with them, Zombrek is going to go on to medical school. Harrington wants to go back and coach with his brother in high school. Brian Mills would love to continue to play if he could. Claymore wants to continue to play if he could. Carter wants to continue to play. Thurman wants to continue to play. So we'll kind of see what happens with the draft. Sometimes it is tough to get drafted as a senior, but I think a couple of these guys have some chances to get that. We'll start exit meetings, tomorrow and Friday to get all our guys out in the summer baseball and kind of see how each one of them feels for next year. I like really where we are with our pitching staff. The guys that we got coming in are very good, and they're going to do nothing but make a pitching staff better. Position player-wise, we've got some holes to fill behind home plate, but I think the guys that coming in can fill it. I think the recruits we got coming in can fill some of the holes we have, but we are going to have to replace, Claymore, and that's a big mainstay in center field. So does Joe Robbins maybe move to center next year, or Joe is draft eligible, so we'll have to see there. But I feel good about where we are with the draft eligible guys. I do think we have, maybe one that possibly might, sign or whatever. But other than that, we feel good. I mean, Moore and Marks are draft eligible sophomores, but I can't speak for them, but I have to believe that they want to continue to own their craft and continue to get better so that they're ready when they get into pro ball. Trosclair is going to be a big loss for us, not only just as a player, but as a leader. But leadership's the issue every year. It doesn't matter whether you're playing football, basketball, baseball, our softball team, our golf team. It's all down to leadership, and that's why I think 4 or 5 years ago we stopped trying to just recruit it because it's hard to find. We'd love to recruit it, but we started the leadership course that we do over 6 weeks here in the fall now. I think it's really helped us because we want to try to teach it now, because I think you have to teach it. There's not a lot of leaders out there. We have a shortage of men in our country, and it's trying to find men. And so what we try to do here, we changed about 4 or 5 years ago, is to try to create a leadership course and hopefully try to develop them and from being a boy into a man. Because if they can, learn one thing, like we tell them all the time, I don't need you to be the man, I just need you to be a man.
Who's the one that you might fear losing, possibly?
Well, I think Ragin has a good chance. He's draft eligible. He's a junior. He's got a lot of skills that I think the minor leagues or the professional baseball covet. And we want our players to get drafted. We tell them in the recruiting process, we want you to play through us, not to us. And so, do sophomores need to go? I don't think so. But juniors, I think they have to take a hard look at it because it's very tough as a senior to not only get drafted, but they'll draft you and just tell you, hey, here's $1,000. So that junior year is kind of important for them because financially they can maybe get rewarded a little bit more for themselves than a senior coming out.
Is Sensley draft eligible or no?
He is. He's draft eligible, yes.
Any of your signees kind of draft risk in your mind?
Well, we don't know that. I don't think we're seeing anybody that would just surprise us as of right now. I'm not saying 1 or 2 of them won't be drafted, but I feel pretty good about maybe where they'd be drafted. So right now, I don't see any big surprises. We feel as coaches good about the draft. We don't have any big fears going into it. We hope that the guys that are coming in can just replace some of the specialness that we lost. Zombrecker might not have pitched many innings, but he was a special guy. He was a glue. Brian Mills brought a lot of energy every day. He was a joy to be around. Those seniors, a lot of those seniors, they were not only good players, but they were good people, and they made the bottom of the bench. Like I said before, it wasn't poisonous. And so, and again, to like a Zombreaker to cut rap music off in the locker room for a minute and read scripture before we go out on the field every day, that takes guts, man. That takes courage. In a locker room to be able to stand up for what's right and stand up for good things. And this team did a lot of that, and they helped a lot of people along the way because they really understood servant leadership. And like I said, with Daniel, with his quest with cancer, and the girl that came here from the Shriners, they did a lot. And I told them that when it was over, focus on what you accomplished, focus on what you did do. Don't try to focus on what you failed to do.
What's the heart of your pitching staff coming back next year? They're going to transition from sophomores to juniors.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe you might have a couple alphas emerge out of that?
I think so. I really do. I really believe that that's about the time that they get going that junior year, because they feel more confident in themselves. They feel I've put in 2 hard years now. I've got the right maybe to speak up. This pitching staff has a chance to be really good, and the incoming guys, we've got a couple of them in there that I think can pitch on the weekends, and so everybody's going to come back better. Even though Wyatt and Evan stumbled a little bit at the end, I told them, don't let one game define you. Use it to grow, use it as a stepping stone, use it to be hungry all summer and get back in here over the fall. So we got to work real hard to stay healthy with this staff, because it's got a chance to be really good. And look, when you can pitch every night out, you got a great opportunity to win. That's where it starts. And I do believe we can replace some of the hitters. I think the big key will be developing leaders again, but our players know that. They'll get the first speech from me the first night about, for us to make it, we're going to have leaders, develop leadership, and get some guys to be team players. Those are the 2 things that I think this team really did a good job of. And I think a lot of these guys developed along the way and went from a boy into a man, because ultimately, that's what this is about. If somebody doesn't get drafted today, they leave at 22 years old. If they live to 82, he's going to live 60 more years on what? On his ability to hit a baseball? On his ability to throw a slider? He'll live on the ability of who he is as a man. And so it's very important to me, as long as I stand here as the head baseball coach here, is to make sure that we develop them from a boy into a man. And sometimes you have setbacks like we did here. That's part of growing. That's part of being a man. The players get the wins. I get the losses. So I got both those losses. It wasn't Guillory. It wasn't Wyatt. It wasn't the hitters. It was me. At the end of the day, I tell young coaches all the time, if you're going to get into this business, you got to understand one thing. Your players are going to get the wins. You're going to get the losses. So I don't know what we ended up with, 21 losses or whatever. Those were mine. But the one thing that we want to do through sport, through our baseball game here, is to try to really grow him as a man, because ultimately I'm going to have to face the Lord one day, and I don't think when he says, I sent you over 500, 600 boys, what'd you do with them? Did you mention them about me? Did you try to work to turn him into not just a good baseball player and a good father, but a godly father and a godly man, not just a man? I don't think I can look at him and say, man, gee, you realize I'm the winningest coach in UL's history? I don't know if that's the answer I can give him. And so it's very important for us, and I'm really proud of how these guys develop from boys into men, especially these last seniors that are moving on, because now they can go mentor. Now they can go create better men, because at the end of the day, we have a shortage of men in our country.
You mentioned that the pitching staff has a chance to be pretty good. You know as better as anyone, they're only going to be as good as the catcher.
No doubt.
How important is that position over this offseason, and do you think that you can develop, maybe not at Thurm's level as far as calling the pitches, but to where the talent can go with the?
I think we can. I think the oldest catcher coming in is Handsome Monica, and when you name Handsome, we ought to have a shot. But the thing about him is he brings a lot of energy. He'll be a different type catcher, which is good. They're all unique in their own way. It will take a little while to get our system under him, but our system's not impossible to learn. Thurm got it, and he was able just to keep it. And I think what'll help is he's not coming in the freshmen. He's coming in the juniors that already know the system. So I think it's going to be a reverse teach. I think not only will be me teaching him, but I think it's going to be our pitching staff teaching him. And so because of that, our pitching staff knows right from wrong now. I mean, Nick Lee knows in his gut what the right pitch should be. Gunner, all those guys, Wyatt and Guillory. So I think what's going to be really nice is that it will just be a reverse teach. I think the pitchers will be able to handle up on the catchers now instead of the catcher like Thurman handling up on the pitchers.
With JUCO guys, this year you said your team will only go as far as the JUCO guys go. You bring in 2 guys, possibly with Lott and Stover, that could be big difference makers for you. How important is their kind of getting here, and what kind of difference could they possibly make on the field for you?
Well, they're athletic guys, and that's the whole thing about this. I think if it starts with somebody that's athletic, you have a chance. And what's good about the guys coming in is we're athletic. And they've had very good success where they were. I mean, Schmidt, the lefty from, San Jack, pitched his team all the way to the College World Series in Grand Junction. So we got a lot of guys that did a lot. And I really believe their athleticism coming in mixed with what we have and really grasping the way we want to play and getting into this system, because there's a big challenge here is when you get into this system, hitting wise, the pack system, it's different from what they're coming from, and our pitching system is different from what they're coming from. So there has to be a buy-in, and I think that's why as the season wore on we got better, because I think our older guys, the guys that came in from the JC, abandoned the old system and got into our system.
Who's going where for summer ball, and are you holding pitchers out again?
We are gonna shut pitchers down. We're gonna stay with that method. Even if 1 or 2 get a chance to go to the Cape, we'll allow it maybe, but they might go have 1 start or 2 starts and then come on back. We're gonna continue. We think it's helped us this year, knock on wood, with no arm injuries. We think it's helping us. We think that they need to start having the mentality that their fall is what's important, not summer ball as a pitcher. Now, guys that lack the innings, yes, we want them out, and we'd like position players to go out too and continue to play. But if a guy wants to stay behind and work on his body all summer with our strength coach, I got no problem with that. I really believe they've played enough baseball now. They're playing in thousands and thousands of baseball games before they get to us. 20 years ago, you played this and you had nothing else to play. Today, those guys have played in a lot of baseball games, and so we're going to stay with our pitchers. Demo will shut down. I mean, all the guys are going to shut down unless it's a situation like it's the Cape, and it can help their draft status, and they can go maybe pitch 1 outing maybe or 2 and come back. The Cape's starting to allow people to do that, but outside of that, only the guys that lack the innings will go out to pitch. They'll get on a rehab program all summer and start an aggressive rehab program with strength and conditioning to come back ready back up for the following fall. What
if it's a USA Baseball opportunity with Gunner or Moore?
We would allow that. We'll allow that to represent your country. We have no problem with that. But outside of those 2, we're going to be very, very tough on shutting down, and also shutting down incoming pitchers too. Our guys are easier to shut down. The tough thing is that senior sometimes wants to continue to play summer ball. He's the guy that's a little tougher to shut down, but we're going to make every effort to continue to shut pitchers down and get them onto an extensive rehabilitation program before they get in here in the fall.
Clement, Trosclair, Thurman, a lot of big bats gone in
Yes.
the lineup. So
Yeah.
you kind of touched on this, but replacing those guys, are you kind of anticipating maybe some of the guys like Sensley, Pinheiro, who had those solid kind of ends of the season, to maybe pick up where those guys left off?
No doubt. I mean, if you look at the Little Rock kid that just tore up our league this year, his first 2 years, 1 year might have been he was a 200 hitter or something. I think it takes time. I think the saying is it takes 10,000 hours to be looked at as an expert in your field. And if you spend 10,000 hours, you start to see patterns link up. And that's what makes, I think, the veteran coaches or a veteran hitter or a veteran pitcher so good, because they've been through so many patterns. They start to figure patterns out. When you haven't been through 10,000 hours, and let's look at it, the NCAA gives me 20 hours a week. So let's add that up. 20 hours a week, and you can only do that 20. When you and your your traditional segment. So when they're non-traditional segment, I get 8 hours a week with them. 6 of it has to be conditioning, so only 2 hours of skill work. So a guy's getting 2 hours of skill work in, and we're trying to get him to 10,000 hours so he can be an expert in his field. How do you do that? I mean, legally, the way to do it is these guys have to put in the time after practice, before practice, honing their craft. And that's where we hope can happen, where Sensley this year, who went from junior college baseball to here, can now take what he got this year and continue to hone his craft over the summer. Every player to continue to hone his craft, even pitchers hone their crafts. And I think the more hours they put in, the better they get. But we'll need, the Anchaks, the Paneros, those junior college guys, we'll need them to get better, because they weren't where we needed them to be this year. They got going as the season went on, and I think it's because they were flipping back over to our system. Well, now they know our system, so hopefully they can be comfortable in it. But if you look at, like I said, the guy from Little Rock who's so good, he might have hit 200 or $189 or something a year or two before he had the year he had, and that comes with time. It's so tough with 132 days, and you cannot work out more than 4 hours in a day. It's very tough for them to get to that 10,000 hour expert field. So it takes time. And so the answer is yes, we need those guys to develop and grow, and then we need hopefully the other guys to come in to get going. And if we can mix those two, then that'll be a good thing. The one good thing is we got the pitching staff, I think, to protect it. And then we can see where we are in the fall, and then go accordingly. I think we have to adjust our talent. I mean, Arizona didn't hit a lot of home runs, but they're playing in a super regional. I think we have to adjust our talent, and we'll see what that is in the fall with hitters, and then from there we'll work to be that what we can do. We can do good. We know we can pitch, and if you can pitch and play defense, it got us to hosting a regional. I mean, it got us 3 wins away from Omaha technically. And our team was not, a big 350 hitting team, but we got 3 wins away from Omaha. And so I think what's good with the pitching staff that we got coming back, we can buy our hitters some time to grow and develop underneath.
Thanks, Coach.